You've lived a great life and done well for yourself. But what mark will you leave on the world? How will you inspire future generations? Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand have helped thousands of people answer exactly those questions. If you've ever wondered, what will be my legacy? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Stan and Katie Beth.
Welcome back to the Legacy Leaders podcast with your hosts, Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand. Our guest today is the CEO of Not Another Virtual Assistant, Melissa Seideman. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So for our listeners that may not be familiar with your company, tell us a little bit about your background personally, kind of what got you into this, and then tell us exactly what the company does. What services do you provide?
Yeah, I'm a former teacher. I taught for 15 years in the classroom. I taught government to high school seniors for 12 of those years. And during COVID hit, I just was looking to get out of the classroom. I couldn't afford my daycare bill, to be honest, as a teacher. My husband's also a teacher, and our daycare bill was outrageous. And so I started doing email marketing on the side. And then all of a sudden, email marketing took off. I was making double my teaching salary, triple my teaching salary, and now I'm way beyond that. And now I have a team of 10, and we do email marketing for small businesses, from real estate agents to skincare lines to hockey organizations to mental health services. We write emails for companies that hire us, and we send them, automate them, and resend them.
That is really cool, and not an incredibly unique story, because COVID caused so many different changes. And so I love that you were able to kind of take the hardships from that and turn it into something productive. Very cool. I also like that you mentioned that you do a lot of hockey emailing and things like that, because you mentioned that you're a hockey mom. So that's something that you are very familiar with, working in that world, which is something we can all relate to. So tell us a little bit more specifically about what is your ideal client or the ideal company that you work with? Do you work with really large companies, with, smaller companies, with individuals? What types of businesses is your company well suited to work with?
So we work with companies from all different realms. It's really interesting. I don't really have a niche, but basically we work with companies that have 1 to 10 employees, 1 to 15 employees, and we market that business for them. So one client I have is an organic skincare line in Louisiana, and we send an email for her, and she makes $25,000 a month just with our email campaigns done for her. And all we do is write the emails, send the emails, schedule them, and we do planning, obviously, and execution with them.
Very cool. So if there is a company that's offering a service or a product, they can come to you and you help them with all aspects of that type of marketing. So you're really the marketing guru. You help them with, the planning and the building of the email and the sending and the follow-up, all of that. So somebody could show up to you with maybe no experience and you can help them out.
Yeah, we do. We set up people from startup to finish. Some people come to us with extensive lists of 100,000, 200,000 people on their list. Some people are brand new and wanting to start. So we do all of that. I often remind people the first thing you check in the morning is actually your email, and it's something that's top of mind. So if you're a real estate agent, or if you're a lawyer, or if you are any kind of agency like that, you can send an email and just remind them of the services you're working on, what type of cases you're working on, how you help and serve people in the community. And you're top of mind when they need to go hire a lawyer or a skincare line or join a hockey organization or whatever it is.
That's really cool. How often do you send, or do you recommend sending these emails? Is it every week? Does it depend on what industry it is? How do you know how often to hit them with marketing email?
The most important thing you can do is be consistent. And I often say, top of mind, you're more likely to get remembered and hired and booked and visit your physical store or visit your online store. So I say what you can do consistently. So obviously every week would be ideal. One of my clients, the organic skincare line, we saw emails starting to take off. So I said, let's do twice a week. Some of them are every other week, first Monday, third Monday of the month. It's what you can do consistency for the long term, because if you can't handle a schedule, then you're going to not be consistent. You're not going to be top of mind. So
that makes perfect sense. Stan, I know you're brimming with questions, because this is right in the heart of what we do as a law firm. What questions do you have for Melissa?
Yeah. So I have about an hour's worth of questions. We don't have an hour to do this, but let me start though. Before you send emails, you have to get the list. Tell me what your role is in helping your client find the email list to send?
Well, so you could no longer buy your list. Often people come to me and ask if they could buy a list, and you can't do that anymore with CAM spam laws. So they need to opt into your list yourself. So I look at someone's website and I analyze where the email opt-ins are, and we make sure they're strategic, whether it's a pop-up or at the top of the website or the bottom of the website. Encouraging current clients to get onto your email list is also key. So you can no longer just add them. They have to opt in themselves and confirm, and you need to use an established email provider like ConvertKit, Constant Contact, MailerLite, MailChimp, something like that. You can't just send from a free email.
Okay, so let me follow up with that. What are some things that you can do that you advise your clients to do on their website to get people to sign up and give them their email address?
Yeah, you got to think of like your ideal client in mind. So if you were trying to get certain type of people on your list, think of what would they want to get on your email list and join, because people consider email a very sacred thing. I don't want to give it to everybody. I don't want to get spammed. I don't want my email list getting sold, all those things. So I encourage a pop-up of some sort, putting it in the footer, putting some kind of freebie that, so if you're a lawyer, for example, give them some tips with your law firm of what you can do to make sure contracts are up to date, or give them some tips about estate planning or whatever it is, and then get them on that list by giving them some sort of a free incentive.
So, all right, great. And yeah, so several years ago, I read Russell Brunson's book, and he talks about that, talks about downloadables as a tool. Is that something you encourage people to do?
A lot of my clients are doing something like that. Some of them, if they have a physical service, 10%, like a skincare line, for example, she offers 10% off their first order, that type of thing. So it depends
Yeah.
on your
Okay.
product line and what you sell.
So let me ask you, is it possible? And the answer may be that it's not possible, but to what extent is it possible to do geographic targeting with emails? And I guess as I ask the question, I'm thinking that's probably not possible, right? Because you don't really know from the email they could be in New York or anywhere, right?
It could be anywhere, but make sure your website is updated with SEO best practices. So then it's obviously coming up in the search of Google. And if someone was to search your law firm or estate, whether it's wherever you're working. But yeah, you get people from all over, but I would make sure, I always tell people I'd rather have a smaller list that's the right people on my list than a larger list that's not.
So
Yeah,
I'm
and
not,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Stan.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned SEO. That is something that I feel like is increasingly important as technology is moving forward. What are your tips on good SEO? And is that something that you help your clients with as well?
We do. We started with email, and then all of a sudden people started asking us for help with blog writing. So we do blog writing also, and we do Pinterest marketing and some graphics creation too with our non-other VA. But we encourage, like, if your client has blog posts or something that come up in Google, and if they're done right, the SEO will track. So you can get someone who finds a blog post, reads your article, and then wants to opt into your email list that way. Pinterest is also another really powerful tool to get people on your email list, get them to your website, that type of thing too. And then use social media, obviously, too.
That's so interesting. I love Pinterest. I'm a Pinterest person. I feel like I'm also your target audience for most of the things because I definitely have signed up for email lists for 10% off a skincare line and all of those things as well. So I know on the consumer side that those things really do work. I tend to not give out my email just to anybody. I don't want to get spammed, but man, for 10% off my first order, I'll do it. So I love that. I think that is just a really cool thing that you are doing. Stan, what other questions do you have
Yeah,
for Melissa?
I was going to ask, I don't, Melissa, I don't want you to give away all your secrets today, right? But I am curious if you could pick one or two pretty common mistakes that your clients make in email marketing. What do you tell them?
Yeah, so always have a welcome sequence. You should always have some sort of a welcome sequence. So when someone joins your list, they get automated emails. So when you're working with your kids or going to work or eating dinner with your spouse, you can then get emails automatically sent from your inbox without you having to physically go send them. So if someone joins your list, they get a series of 3 to 4 emails about your product, about your service, about your company, about your mission, about your values, all of those things to make sure you align with that person. So if they're not the right fit for the company, they can unsubscribe and then realize they didn't join the right one. But then welcome sequences also do a really nice thing of teaching you about your business, your model, your vision, your mission, all of that fun stuff. And then all of a sudden they're more likely to be consumers and buy and purchase from your product line. So that's what I always recommend. And then email consistently is another thing that I always say.
Is
And that's
there,
something your marketing team types up the emails. And then you mentioned your team does blog posts as well. I know that's something that can help a lot with SEO and just in general, having blog posts, even for estate planning attorneys, which is the world Stan and I work in, having blogs out there really does a lot to bring people in. What portion of that can your team do for somebody? Do they edit blogs? Do they write the blogs? How does
We
that
do
work?
everything. So someone will just come to us, I want this email topic or blog topic, and we write them, automate and send them. We do the SEO for the whole blog post. So for blogging, make sure they're done for SEO. There's a lot of components that go into it to make sure it ranks high in Google. And I have clients that even for myself, if you search a topic, it will be the first page of Google, first 10 posts of Google. And when you do that, you're going to get a lot of visits, a lot of site visits, a lot of bookings, that type of thing. And it's a really great way to just direct organic traffic to your site.
so I want to talk about the cost, the investment in doing this, okay? Because it's not free. You know, you make money at this, and the clients you serve hopefully make money by making the investment. Do you have a way of thinking about, and I guess this is going to sound terribly scientific, but should there be an expected mathematical relationship between the amount of investment I put into an email marketing campaign and the revenue that I would expect to generate from that? I mean, I'm saying, for example, if I spend $1,000 on email marketing, what should a client of yours expect to receive in return in revenue from that $1,000 investment?
I've read everywhere that it's 37 to 1. For every $1 you spend, you make about $37 for every $1 you spend on email marketing. And if it's done right, you will make money. So for my one client, we've made her $25,000 this month, literally from emails. It's crazy. And some clients, it's booking a camp, booking a discovery call, getting them into your office. So it might not be tangible numbers, but it might be 4 new clients that are going to meet with me in my office type thing.
Mm-hmm. But 37 to 1 strikes me as a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a no-brainer. And the cost is pretty affordable. Email marketing is not that expensive to do. You go with a provider. It's a set. Like people get upset when they see their bill for their email provider. But I realize like I've made thousands and thousands of dollars off my email list and it's paid for itself many times over.
Are there any new trends that you're seeing emerging out there that, I mean, because you're doing this all day, every day, what do you see? What do you see happening? And I guess part of my question is artificial intelligence impacting your business in that way?
So I was really worried about that a few years ago when it started to take off, but we're using it to our advantage. We write the emails ourselves with a human, and then we use AI to generate subject lines to make sure the subjects get opened. We use emojis. We use Grammarly to spell check our grammar. We use tools like that to make sure we're doing it right. If you use, I have one client who just came to me and she was using solely ChatGPT to write her emails. And her email list went from, she was a client of mine. She left me to go use ChatGPT and then came back to me. So we were in the open rate of 60% range with 5 to 6% click rate every single email. And then she left me to go to ChatGPT and it went down to a 20% open rate, crashed within 9 months. And then she came back to me and we're trying to get her subject lines and open rates and click rates up again. But it totally damaged her sender reputation because she used ChatGPT and it's too generic. It doesn't sound like a person writing it, that type of thing.
How do you have a sender reputation? Do I have one of those if I don't know that?
You do. We do.
Yeah, it's just a reputation for your company because they want to make sure you're top of mind. If you're an estate planner, you're the best of estate planners. I want to hire you for planning my estate. And if you write generic emails, they're going to know it's not a person. It's just a bot basically writing your emails.
Yeah, which I think really separates, and you mentioned this in the story you just told, Melissa, it really separates all of the AI generated emails and content from our organic content actually coming from a human. I know with our emails we send out for the law firm, the ones that have the best open rate are the ones where I include like a picture of our team at an event or quotes from our attorneys or something that really feels like, hey, this is human interaction. This is humans sending an email to humans. Here's what we've got going on in your community. Our click rate is so much better on emails like that than it is when it's like 4 or 5 AI generated articles that might be really good, or the links to the articles might be really good, but it's just, you can
just tell it's not a human. Yeah.
You can just tell
sure.
it's not human. And so I think, especially as the digital world continues to go the way of AI, I think humans tend to crave more of that real, and the interaction that feels real. So I love that you've got a team out there doing that. And I saw on your website, which is really great, we'll tell our clients about that in a minute, but I saw on your website that not only do you offer all these services, you also offer one-on-one email Zoom coaching. So tell us what you can get out of an email Zoom coaching session.
Yeah, I meet with probably 2 or 3 clients a week on email Zoom, and I just love doing it. It's one of those things like I can't give up, even though I'm in the CEO role. I have a team writing for me. I have a team doing certain things. I just love meeting with people and seeing what problems they're encountering with email. So people basically book the Zoom call with me, and we go through the back end of your system, whether it's learning to use certain features, writing better emails, giving you suggestions on how to use the platform. I record the presentation, so you get a recording of action steps of what to do, what to write better, do better with your email marketing platform. And then you get to save the recording, watch it again and again, and save time. So rather than struggling and not knowing all the features, and it will just make you quick. So for example, I email Zoomed with someone yesterday. She didn't have her branding colors in the email platform. She didn't have a paid email in the email platform. I found all these errors. I was like, oh my God, we have to fix all of this. So she didn't have her welcome sequence connected correctly. I basically go in and see what's going on with your current platform and give suggestions on how to improve it.
That's cool.
So I have a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sam. No, you're good.
See, I told you I had an hour's worth of questions. I'm trying to
I
jam
knew
them
you
in here.
did. I knew you would. I knew
Yeah.
you would love this topic. Okay, go on.
So my question is, embedding videos in emails, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So some providers do allow for it. I usually make it like an image of the email, like an image of the video, and put it in the video, and it looks like it's an actual video. And then you click it and you go play the video on YouTube or get them to your website or get them to your blog post. That's what I usually do. You don't want to slow down emails because if there's too many images, it's going to take the while the page to load. It won't always load. So I usually do an image screenshot of the video ready to play. They click it, want to play it, and then it goes to wherever you're trying to direct the traffic to.
Okay, so, all right, so I get your answer, but I guess my lack of technical knowledge is revealed in the way I asked that question. I guess, and that was a useful answer, but my question really was, does the use of videos in email marketing,
Yes.
not necessarily embedding it, but like even with the link like you're describing, is that an effective tool or not?
Yes, it gives you credibility for sure. You put the person behind the brand, the face, all of that. So without a doubt, yes, emails and videos work really well together for sure. So if you're trying to sell a product or service, you can market with a video for sure.
Okay, what other, the time we have left here, and I know Katie Beth has questions too, but what other what other secrets, can you
Keep your email and brand. So if your logo has, let's say, blue or yellow, make sure it's in brand with your video, your email template. Templates can save a lot of time. You can have templates on your website, saves a lot of time. I offer email templates where I sell passively to clients. So some people can't afford our email services. So they buy our templates and you save them time that way. But make sure they're branded. Your email layout is branded, your buttons are branded, your font is branded, and be consistent with every time. So when they see the yellow and blue, let's say, they know it's from your firm rather than seeing multiple colors, only black and white, that type of thing.
Fascinating.
That
This
makes
is really
sense.
fascinating stuff.
I know it really is cool because this is something that's so useful, and it's interesting. This is something that it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. The world that we live in right now, you've got to have, whether you're selling a product or skincare line or health services or estate planning or financial planning or whatever it is, email marketing is really its own world out there doing that. So tell us, I would say, give us, you don't have to spill all the secret sauce, but what is the biggest mistake that you see people make? And then what would your biggest advice be for people who are needing to work on this idea of email marketing?
People often, I find, are so nervous to just start. And I often say, just rip the Band-Aid off and start sending emails and pretend you're talking to your best friend next door, pretend you're talking to your ideal client in mind and write the emails from that perspective, and it won't seem so nerve-wracking. People often just won't even send emails because they're like, it's not perfect, it's not well done. But just start sending them, I think, and make sure you're talking to your best friend. Like, what would you talk to them about estate planning? What would you talk to them about real estate? That type of thing, and give them tips for estate planning, real estate, that type of thing. What houses did you go to? What estates did you help? What families did you help? That type of thing, and bring that connection into the email will make a huge difference.
That is great advice. It's so interesting. So we send emails to our client base. We have like 9,000 emails, that we hit every week. And every week when I do it, by the time I send an email, I've done it. I've had AI check it. I have a team that checks it. I send it to somebody else to read through it and make sure it's fine. I double check all the links, and still going to send that email every week, my fingers like shaking. I'm so scared to hit the button thinking something might go wrong. So I love that perspective that you've just offered of act like it's your ideal client, act like it's somebody who needs this information. It really does kind of change the view of email marketing. And, of all the emails we send one a week to our client base, which is a pretty extensive list. I just about never get a bad response on those. It's so nerve-wracking to put yourself out there, I feel like, in an email. So
well, and you
that's
could do
really
little
great
things
advice
to even encourage replies, like ask them a question about, do you have any questions about estate planning? I'll bring this into my next email. Or do I have any questions about real estate? And I'll answer them in the next email. Offer them a gift card for doing a survey. Like, you can do all kinds of things to get them to reply and encourage a two-way conversation. And I often say you can send an email and get replies. It's like the best compliment you can do, because they're opening and reading and wanting to respond.
That's great. I love that idea. Stan, let's steal this from Melissa and use her genius. I love the idea of giving them an opportunity to really respond. One thing that I love about email marketing is I love data, and I love how trackable it is. So I can see what our open rate is. I can see what our click rate is. I can see how many people clicked on the article, how many people clicked on the contact us information, and so that to me is really helpful, kind of figuring out where our client base is, what type of things they're interested in. And so email marketing to me is fun because, unlike a lot of different types of marketing that are out there, it's really a trackable service. You can really get quantifiable data from that. So I love that.
Yeah, and you own your list. You can decide when you want to send a sale email, or you can decide when you want to promote a product or service. You own that list, whereas you're not subject to an algorithm of someone happened to see the Facebook post or happened to see the Instagram post. You own that. You're top of mind when you send that email.
Am I limited to how fast I can send them out? Do I have to do it in small tranches? I've heard that if I send too many, I'll get tagged by the powers that be
If
and
it's a brand
Sky.
new account, I encourage smaller size lists to warm up the account. And then you want to make sure you're also using that email, domain email. Like, so for example, my email is melissa@notanotherva.com. That email, instead of like a not another virtual assistant at gmail.com, it's got to be a paid email. And then you got to make sure you're also using that paid email. So you're telling Google and Yahoo you're not a spammer. And then I always recommend having a double opt-in on every time for your emails, because you'll get less subscribers, but it's a real person who's joining your list.
The double opt-in, meaning they have to
So on
click
the
twice.
form where you collect emails, there's a toggle on every form to make sure it's on, because you want to make sure someone, when they join, they put their name and their email in the form to join. Then they go to their email, confirm it, click a button, and then they're on your email list that way. That's double opt-in.
Wow.
Very cool.
Lots
We're
of good
learning
advice
lots of
here.
great
Yep.
things. Lots of great things. Okay, before we run out of time, Melissa, through the work that you do, and I know that you are a lacrosse coach wife and a mom of boys, and you have this company, what impact is it that you hope you will have on the world? What do you hope your legacy will be?
Oh my God. I give back my time. So I volunteer coach lacrosse. I'm PTO president in my children's school. But then I think my greatest contribution of email is I write the emails for the Humane Society in my community. And we write the emails. So when there's animals in need, or when there's pets that need support or surgery or anything like that, we write emails for their organization for free. And we generate revenue for that organization who support animals in need. So I think that is my greatest legacy. And then also just giving back to the schools is also a great legacy too.
That is really cool. And I love that. That really fits in a lot with our listeners and with what Stan and I do. We always encourage people to give, when you think about volunteering, when you think about philanthropy, people tend to think about money. And so we really try to encourage our clients and our listeners as well to realize that sometimes giving is not just about giving money, it's about giving your time, and it's about giving your skills and your talent as well. So you're a fantastic example of that. And I love the work that you're out there doing. That's really cool. So for our listeners, we want to just thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been the Legacy Leaders Podcast with your hosts, Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand. And our guest today was Melissa Seideman. And to connect with Melissa and get started on your email journey, you can visit www.notanotherva.com. We will also link that for you in the show notes to make sure you can find it. You can also find her on Instagram as well. We will link that as well. So Melissa, thank you so much for jumping on with us today. I know I found this really fascinating. I could keep asking you questions, but I won't ask you to keep spilling all of the secrets. But we encourage all of our listeners to get connected with Melissa. And if you are interested in getting started with email marketing, this is the best place to start. So Melissa, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Your Life, Your Legacy podcast with Stan Miller and Katie Beth Hand. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. To find out more about Stan and Katie Beth, go to pinnaclelegacylaw.com. You can also find links in the show notes.